Hey, how's it going? So we're going to be using this thing here, Authenticator Secure, to create a very quick app. Basically, the purpose of this is just tutorial to create authentication mechanism, right? So it's going to look like this. We're going to have, so this is going to be in, login. This is going to be logout. So when you log in, there's going to be user data displayed in here. When you're gonna log out, nothing is gonna be displayed in here. That's it, right? So I'll show you how to go through setting up a logging in function, authenticating the user, and then, if you want, logging out. And then getting details of the user, right? It's super, super, super easy. Okay, let's get started. So this is create React app, run standard create React app. No, nothing extra need to be added. So I already created whatever. So then run npm start. So that's what you're gonna see. Okay. Now you can style it whatever the hell you want. Okay. Let me just remove this so you don't get confused. Right. Let me just put style equals padding 600 pixels, so it's not like in the middle of the page, okay? Okay, so now we changed. All right. So the first thing we need to do, we need to go and sign up. It's free, right? So you sign up. Okay, I'm gonna log in right now. Now you go through your sign up process. Let me just see. I think it's like this. Yes. I should be signed in already, I think, right? Yeah. Okay. So now that you are signed up, it's free. Again, I told you. Okay, so probably the first thing you want to do is you want to create a user, right? So you click on user management, user, create new user, and then just go through this. So you have an actual user. Okay, so let me just do this. Let me generate some random password. I normally use random password generator. So I normally use this one here, right? So just whatever. Select. There should be, you see, you can generate as many as you want, right? So I'm gonna generate a random one so you don't get to see it. Alright. And then I'm gonna copy and paste it in here. Create. Okay. So the next thing what's gonna happen is you probably want to edit the name. Beatrice Angerov. Whatever. Okay. Save. Otherwise, it's by default like the email. Okay, so now we have a user. Now you need to wait a little bit until the email arrives. You want to verify. I already have it, so you see it's suspending. I clicked on it already, so it's already verified. I think it's still gonna work if it's not verified. I'm not sure, but I mean it could work. One sec, let me just save the password real quick. Okay, I'm back. So now we have the user. The next thing we need to do, we need to create an application. So we click on applications. Again, applications. And then create application. So we call it YouTube demo. You call it whatever the hell you want, right? Single page web application is what we're looking for if you're running React app. Okay? Now it's going to create the application for you. Now, this, you click in here, and it literally tells you step by step exactly how to do it. So if you're looking something in a written format, that's where you wanna click on it, right? So create a duplicate first. I'll tell you why later, like literally in a second. So you click on React, and this will literally tell you step by step how to do it. We're gonna be copy and pasting most of the code, but I'll explain to you exactly what every line does, right? Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you want to see the port in here, localhost. You need to add it to permissions. Okay, so to add it to permissions, you go in here, settings, right? So we duplicate it, so we click on settings in here, scroll down, allowed callback URLs, copy and paste, allowed logout URLs, copy and paste, allowed web origins, copy and paste. Now you can put multiple, okay? You put comma, like this, and it's going to work. Alright, I'm not gonna do it, but I'm just telling you, you can put multiple. Now, this step is very important. Remember to save. There is no automatic saving in here, so you have to do it manually. Okay? Alright, so now we have the user, and we have authorized the thing to whatever, to log in. Okay, so next thing we need to do, it's literally in here, right? Once you authorize, right? Once you authorize. I mean, if you're running a different port, use a different port. Okay, so next thing we need to install Authenticator React thing. Alright, so we go to new terminal and we install that thing. Okay, done. Second thing, we want to take, so we want to import Authenticator Provider. Authenticator Provider wraps around our app. Okay, it wraps around our app. So we go into our index, I think, right? Yeah. And we delete. So the first thing we need to import it, right? So there's Authenticator. And then Authenticator is gonna go here. Authenticator Provider. Okay, here is the important part. If you have a router, browser router, you need to wrap it slightly differently. 1 second, I'll tell you how to wrap it. Oh, where is it? Yeah. So if you have a router, you wrap it browser router first, authentication provider second, and app third. So authentication provider goes inside the router based on a blog. There was a blog. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm not kind of doing it with the browser. So Authenticator Provider. Okay. So next thing, Authenticator Provider takes properties. And these properties you can find in here. You can literally copy and paste this stuff. Now, if you don't have copy and paste, domain comes from if you go to settings, okay, so we're in settings, domain you can copy and paste from here. That's where domain comes from. And client ID comes from here. You can copy and paste. Alright? Where's our code? Okay. So that's our domain, that's our client ID. Redirect URI is also whatever. And I think this can be written like this as well. I've seen some people do it this way, but I mean, we'll just stick to it this way. Okay, so now authentication provider is set up. So what do we need to do next? We need to create a login button. So we're gonna create components folder. We already have it in here, so just go, I'll delete it so you'll be able to see. Okay, on source, new folder, components, new file, call it login button.js. Call it whatever the hell you want. Now, the code is literally copy and paste from here. Like, literally copy and paste from here. Okay? Right, so what are we doing? What are we doing? Look, we are importing use Auth0 from the framework that we have installed, right? Now, what do we do next thing? So this is like a hook, all right? We destructure the hook and we get login with redirect function from it. So this is like a function that you can run, right? Every time this function triggers, it will redirect you to the authentication page, which is completely automatic. And we create a button that will trigger this function here. Does that make sense? So I'll show you the mechanism in work straight away. So let's import the button. Import login button. There it is, okay? And we are going to put it in here. Login button, like this. It takes no properties. No properties, okay? So look, now we have the login button. Now when we click on it, it immediately goes into your authentication process mechanism, okay? All right. So now, if you cannot log in, that means you don't have a user. If you don't have, okay. So if you don't have a user, I already showed you how to create it. Go to user management, users, create new user, fill in all the details, and it's like literally email, password, and click on email to authorize, and that's it, it's done, right? So use your credentials in here. I think I already have them saved. Okay, there you go. We click on accept. Now, what's going to happen is it will redirect you back to where you came from. So now user is authenticated. Okay? So now, how do we know that the user is authenticated, right? I'll show you how to do it. So we create new file. We call it profile, for example, JS. Actually, yeah, let's do it this way. Profile.js. Now, if you, again, it's literally in here. Okay? So we pass in here. Now, they tell you to create logout button, but we will do it afterwards, right? I mean, it's exactly the same as creating login button. It's just logout button, right? But I'll show you the profile. So we can copy and paste. Again, we're using Authenticator 0 hook. Right? So look, we are using the hook again, we are destructuring, and we're getting three things out of it. User, right? So user is gonna be this data here. Right? So it will return a JSON with all this mumbo jumbo in here. Right? You can also, I believe you can also add more details in here, like if you want. Right? But generally, the most important thing is he authenticated? This is true or false. And is loading is like a state that's already provided with use auth. And while data is being fetched, it's true. And once user data is fetched, it becomes false. All right, so you can see in here, if loading is true, right, that means data is fetching, right? It's true, right? Once that is fetched, it becomes false. That's it. So next thing, okay, if user is authenticated, so if this is true, display picture, name, but I'll show you. Let me just do it real quick. Use effect. So we're gonna console log three things, so you'll be able to see how component functions. So this is gonna be user. My apologies. User. This is gonna be is authenticated. So I just want to show you the values that are coming through as you are working with the app. Is loading. Is authenticated. Is loading. Okay, now we want to pull this data into here. So I'm gonna put a horizontal line. Oh, it doesn't matter. We can do it this way. Actually, it's probably better to do it this way. Now we want to import the profile from components, profile. And then we're going to display this profile in here. Okay, so where is our... Okay, we need to put it... Use effects, okay. Okay. So now you see user, email verified true. Is he authenticated true? Is loading... Is it loading? No. Right, so we probably want to... We probably need to log out somehow as well. Right? Let me just check real quick. Yeah. You see, because it's... we need to create a logout button. Alright. Okay. So... I thought we could do it without logout button. But you get the idea, right? Because this user is already authenticated, we get information about the user, which is like the JSON you want to return. Is loading true, that means data is being fetched. Is authenticated false. And then is loading is false. Okay. I hope I didn't confuse you. Let us create a logout button. Man, I think I should have done the logout button first. Yeah. Okay, so let's just call logout button.js. Go to our magical page. So this is your login. This is your logout. So logout button is like super easy. Where is the application? Okay, copy and paste. Again, it's the same process as login button. Get the hook. Inside the hook there is logout function that we're gonna call. Now, this function is a little bit different because it has a argument inside of it, which is a JSON, right? And this JSON has a key which is return to, and this is where you want to user to return when he logs out, right? But normally I just stick to location. Ooh. Okay. All right. So now let's import the logout button. Import logout button. There you go. And we're gonna put the button in here. Logout button. No properties again. Alright, so there you go. So we can log out, and you'll see that nothing is going to be displayed in here, right? User is undefined, is authenticated false, is loading false. Alright, now let's log in. Click on login, put our user details, continue. Okay, you see, is loading was true. That means there was a loading being displayed in here. You probably missed it because it was super fast, right? Now user, we got user information. That's what I told you. Is authenticated true. So now you can run your components if authenticated is true. If not, then you do something else. And that's about it. Okay? Again, everything you need to know is on this page. Like literally in here. You don't need anything fancy. Alright? The most important thing is, so the first thing is Authenticator Provider, right? Then to log in, you use the login button, right? Everything sits inside of this use Authenticator 0 hook, and you essentially have 5 things you want to use from it. To log in, we use login with redirect. To log out, we use logout. Remember, logout has a argument. Where do you want the user to redirect? Okay, and then 3 things is user, is authenticated, and is loading. User is your user data JSON. Is authenticated, once he goes through the process, becomes true. Otherwise it's false. Is loading, when data is being fetched, it's true. When data finished fetching, it's false. And that's it. And another important element is when you are setting up your Authenticator wrapper, make sure to put the properties into it, right? Otherwise it's not going to work. And then these properties come from settings, right? So that's your domain, that's your client ID, then where you want the user to go back once they log in, once they go through the authentication process, which is your usually origin domain, right? And then remember to put the, what you call it? I need to refresh this. Yeah, remember to put the allowed callback URL as your local host or whatever, your website. Allowed logout and allowed web origin. If you want multiple, comma, separated. And that's it. Done. Okay. Super easy, barely an inconvenience. And save changes. Remember, there's no autosave in here. So if something is not working, you probably forgot to save. Okay? That's it. Take care.